Meet Mia, whose life hangs on the brink of financial disaster. As a dedicated waitress navigating tough times, an unexpected encounter with a stranger may reveal hidden ties and societal challenges. What hidden ties will this connection reveal? Mia darted from table to table in the bustling cafe, her mind a swirling storm of worries. The clatter of dishes mingled with the incessant chatter of patrons, but beneath the surface noise, her thoughts echoed louder. Bills loomed large in her mind, crippling dreams of starting her own business, feeling unbearably distant. She glanced at the well-dressed couples laughing as they sipped their lattes, their casual conversations about vacations and luxury serving as a stark reminder of the financial chasm separating her from them. Amid the chaos, she spotted Nathan across. The room, his polished shoes and crisp shirt stood in sharp contrast to the scruffy waitstaff around her. But right now, his well-groomed facade cracked, revealing anxiety etched on his face as he fumbled with his wallet. The card machine beeped incessantly, its judgmental tone prickling the air. Mia could sense his discomfort from where she stood, and her heart ached with sympathy. Memories of her own struggles flooded back faces, filled with embarrassment, as their cards were declined. Each heart-wrenching moment burned brightly in her mind, igniting a familiar spark of compassion. Mia felt the weight of her own financial burdens pressing down heavily, but something stirred within her. She stepped back, unnoticed by the oblivious. Patrons around her and approached Nathan with a quickened heartbeat. "Hey, it's okay," she whispered softly as she leaned toward him, extending a hand toward the machine. Without thinking, she slid her own card through, hoping to shield him from the eyes that scrutinized his strained expression. The brief exchange felt electric. The moment her card processed, relief washed over Nathan's features, but it was mingled with bewilderment, a look that conveyed both gratitude and confusion. He met her eyes, the weight of his unexpected situation momentarily lifting as a connection sparked between them. "Thank you. I didn't mean to," he started, searching for the right words. Mia shrugged, attempting to deflect his gratitude. "Really, it's nothing, just a little kindness, right?" His thank you hung in the air, a silent promise of something more. But as Nathan gathered his things, he reached for a napkin and hastily scribbled down his contact information. "I'd like to repay you. Can I call you?" Mia blinked in surprise, her heart racing as she watched him slip the napkin onto the table. "Just pay it forward," she managed, tinged with an unexpected mix of vulnerability and pride. Before she could say another word, he was gone, leaving behind only the fading scent of his cologne and the napkin that seemed to pulse with promise. Cafe around her felt different now, as if the air had thickened with unspoken words. Mia stared at the napkin, her heart racing. An unexplainable spark ignited within her, a sense that somehow their paths were now intertwined. Was it merely an act of kindness, or did it signal the beginning of something more profound, something that could challenge the very fabric of their disparate lives? What would she do next? The weight of the napkin felt heavy, the moment pressed into her chest. Should she reach out to Nathan, risking the safety of her familiar and chaotic life for an uncertain but magnetic connection? Mia stood in her tiny kitchen, her fingers anxiously tracing the rim of a chipped mug. Should she really reach out to Nathan? The idea felt both exhilarating and terrifying, a roller coaster of doubts churning in her stomach. Biting her lip, she reflected on her day-to-day grind, which felt so suffocating at times. The thought of stepping into something unknown was dizzying yet alluring. She was thankful for Selena, her best friend, who had always encouraged her to explore the edges of her comfort zone. "Just text him," Selena had said, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "What's the worst that could happen? You won't know unless you try." Taking a deep breath, Mia's fingers hovered over her phone. Curiosity wrestled with her apprehensions as she typed out a message. "Hey, Nathan? Would you like to meet up? I'd love to hear more about your story." As she pressed send, a wild flurry of emotions swept over her. She felt a rush of exhilaration, but it was paired with an unsettling anxiety. What if he didn't respond? What if he did? A short while later, a notification pinged on her phone, jerking her from her thoughts. Nathan replied, "Absolutely. How about the park tomorrow at 2?" The next day, as she approached the park, her heart drummed loudly in her chest. It was a vibrant day, the sun casting golden rays that danced among the leaves. Mia gazed around, feeling slightly out of place amidst the polished families picnicking under trees. Yet something tethered her to this moment, a blend of hope and fear that she couldn't shake. Against a tree, his demeanor both relaxed and slightly uncertain. They exchanged pleasantries, each laugh catching in their throats, mixing awkwardness with undeniable chemistry. Mia felt a spark of excitement as they began sharing snippets of their lives, although their worlds felt oceans apart. As they unwound in conversation, Nathan revealed something that took Mia by surprise. "I've recently gone through a financial scandal," he admitted, running a hand through his hair. "I lost pretty much everything. It's been humbling." Mia listened intently, her heart aching for him. Suddenly, his experience mirrored her own struggles, in a way she hadn't expected. "I get that," she replied softly. "I've worked hard just to keep my head above water. One thing I dream about is starting a small business. I want to create something meaningful despite all the obstacles." Their laughter faded as they found themselves in deeper waters, the conversation shifting. Mia saw the weight of vulnerability in Nathan's eyes. He had bared himself to her, revealing unflattering truths about lost privilege and the sharp edges of desperation. As darkness began creeping in through the trees, a surprising revelation emerged, underlying their shared stories. "I know this might sound odd," Nathan said tentatively, "but I found out we're actually distantly related. My grandmother once mentioned a family that lived around here." Mia's mind raced. Could it be true? This connection added a complex layer to their budding relationship, invoking a blend of wonder and confusion. She grappled with her thoughts, dancing through her hopes and fears. Was it fate bringing them together, or simply an entanglement of twisted destinies? As they reluctantly prepared to part ways, a strange tingling sensation settled in Mia's chest. The air felt heavier, thick with an uneasiness that made her wary. This new bond, this unexpected connection, was it a blessing or a curse? An unsettling question loomed in her mind as she walked away, a nagging thought that would linger unresolved. The weight of uncertainty cast a shadow over her heart, and as she glanced back at Nathan, she couldn't help but wonder what lay ahead for them both. As the days passed, anticipation tugged at Mia's heart, a bittersweet mix of excitement and anxiety. Nathan had invited her to a family gathering, and while the thought filled her with warmth, an undercurrent of dread also coursed through her veins. What would it be like to step into a world so foreign to her own? In her small apartment, she stood before the mirror, picking at her hair nervously. "What am I even going to wear?" she muttered to herself, her brows knitted in worry. The little black dress that felt, oh, so perfect in her closet, suddenly seemed inadequate. I looked like a mouse in a lion's den. Just another imposter among the privileged. She could picture the lavishness, the laughter, the effortless grace that radiated from every corner of Nathan's elegant family home. Selena's voice echoed in her mind as she struggled to squeeze into the dress, a reminder that nagged at her resolve. "Mia, just be careful. These rich kids, they play games you do not even know about. You cannot trust them, especially not Nathan." Even though Mia shook her head at the warnings, a seed of doubt sprouted within her gut. What if Selena is right? The fear settled heavily on her chest, dulling the excitement. But deep down, she felt the spark that ignited each time she thought of Nathan. The idea that maybe, just maybe, she could belong if only for a night. As the evening approached, the air, heavy with tension, swirled around her as she navigated through the gathering. When she arrived, laughter and music greeted her, but it quickly faded into silence as eyes turned to her. She stepped inside, awkward and self-conscious, standing out like a sore thumb amidst the elegantly dressed guests. Wealth radiated from every corner of the chandelier-lit room, moving like her modest world. Nathan spotted her instantly, his smile breaking through the crowd as if he were the sun cutting through dark clouds. "Mia, you made it!" he exclaimed, rushing to take her hand. The warmth of his touch sent a shiver through her, but the moment was short-lived. A figure loomed behind Nathan, a tall man with a scowl that cut through the revelry. Nathan's cousin. His glare was sharp, able to slice through the air thick with unspoken judgments. "You brought her?" he sneered, his voice laced with disbelief. Mia's stomach knotted. For a fleeting moment, all her insecurities boiled to the surface as whispers surrounded her, an invisible barrier separating her from the merry chatter of Nathan's relatives. "Who is that?" one cousin asked, their voice dripping with indifference, while another replied, "I would hate to be that girl, Ethan." "Stop it," Nathan defended, his voice stiff with tension. Mia could see the anger flicker in his eyes, as if he were standing against a dark tide. "She is here because I invited her." Mia's heart raced, and facing Ethan felt like becoming the target of a spotlight she never wanted. She remained silent, her throat tightening as she calmed the storm inside. "Why would you do that?" Ethan shot back, crossing his arms. "You know how they are. Are you sure this is wise? Or is this some way to impress everyone?" Under the weight of Ethan's hostility, Mia felt small, her courage beginning to crack. But then Nathan turned to her, concern etched on his face. "Just a moment," he whispered, leading her to a quieter corner away from prying eyes. Once they were alone, Mia could feel the tension dissipating slightly, replaced by a deeper vulnerability. "I am sorry about Ethan," Nathan said, his voice low. "He can be a real jerk." "It is fine," Mia replied, though her heart ached from the tension. "I just do not want to cause trouble. I do not belong here. I like having you here," Nathan insisted, his eyes searching hers earnestly. "You are different. You make this place feel real." It was in those private moments that they ventured deeper into their dreams, their fears breaking barriers that felt insurmountable just moments before. "I guess I always wanted more than this," Mia confessed, her gaze falling to the ground. "I just never thought it would mean feeling this way for someone like you." With every shared secret, every unguarded laugh, the world around them faded, just as they began to envision their hopeful future, their escape from the tight grips of a judgmental shadow approached. Ethan stood, arms crossed, a storm of accusations ready on his lips. From across the room, he fixated on Mia with an accusatory glance that sent chills down her spine. "Nathan, do you even know who you are getting involved with?" A weight settled heavily on Mia's heart as the laughter faded once more. Would secrets surface? Would the connection she felt so deeply dissolve under the scrutiny of familial doubt? She glanced at Nathan, seeing a reflection of uncertainty dance in his eyes, mirroring her own. Ethan's demeanor shifted, the air thickening with unspoken judgment as he stepped closer to Nathan. The room, once filled with light laughter, grew heavy with tension. "Seriously, Nathan," he said, his voice low but severe, "what are you thinking associating with her? You know how our family feels about people like her." Mia stood nearby, caught in a whirlwind of emotions. She could feel her pulse quicken, her heart racing as her instinct screamed for her to retreat. But beneath the fear lay a newfound strength, an urge to stand her ground against the oppressive weight of Ethan's words. Nathan's eyes narrowed. "What do you mean? People like her?" He shot back, his voice rising. "You have no idea what you are talking about. Mia is," he hesitated, struggling to define the connection they shared in a way that would resonate against the tidal wave of familial disdain. Before he could finish, Ethan interrupted. "You are just blinded by your infatuation. Do you even realize the implications? She does not belong in our world." His gaze swept toward Mia, a dismissive flicker that felt like a bolt of cold air. Mia's breath hitched at the harsh words. Each syllable struck her like a stone, laying bare the wounds of her insecurities. She felt exposed, vulnerable, yet something deep within urged her to respond. "I might not belong to your world, Ethan, but that does not make me less than you. I have earned my place with hard work," she declared, surprising herself with the firmness of her voice. Ethan laughed, the sound laced with bitterness. "Hard work? What do you know of our struggles? You think you can just waltz into our lives?" "What struggles?" Mia shot back, the heat of the moment pushing her to confront the chaos. "You mean the struggles that come from privilege, from never having to fight for the things you want? I just want to see what is possible beyond that world." The swirling emotions reached a fever pitch, and as if fueled by some unseen force, old family disputes spilled forth. Secrets and resentments were uncovered, unveiling the tangled web of privilege that she never truly understood. Nathan stood silently in the center of the storm, torn between his allegiance to family and his commitment to Mia. In a sudden, jarring moment, Ethan's voice cut through the tension. "You really should know, Mia," he said, his tone dripping with malice. "You are connected to us through blood. Your father," he hesitated, relishing the gravity of his words, "was one of our family's biggest disappointments." Silence enveloped the room, the collective breath held as Mia pieced together the implications of his revelation. Each heartbeat echoed painfully, amplifying the heartbreak she had feared from the moment she began to stand up for herself. An invisible chasm seemed to define her existence, separating her from acceptance in a family that had never truly been her own. Nathan's expression hardened. "Enough, Ethan," he said firmly, stepping protectively in front of Mia. "She has every right to be here, and she deserves your respect. I will not let you belittle her like this." Mia felt a rush of emotion as she witnessed Nathan's transformation. His voice was steady, a stark contrast to the chaos around them, and in this moment, she saw the man he was becoming, someone willing to fight for what was right, even against the tide of his own family's biases. As the evening drew to a close, tension simmering on the surface, Mia stood at a crossroads. Should she distance herself, shielding her heart against the painful revelations and the judgments of Nathan's family? Or should she embrace this unexpected connection, the ties that were stronger than blood could ever bind? The question loomed heavy in her mind, lingering like the fading light of day. What would she choose when her identity was thrown into chaos? The uncertainty wrapped around her, holding her in suspense as the evening came to an end, leaving the door open for both hope and heartbreak. The air was thick with unspoken words, and Mia could feel her heart pound in rhythm to the weight of their recent revelations. The stark reality of their confrontation still lingered, wrapping around them like a heavy fog. She glanced at Nathan, who stood a few feet away, his face etched with conflict. They both felt it, the tension that filled the space between them. Souls grappling with the new shapes of their realities. "I never expected it to go that way," Nathan finally murmured, his gaze lowered to the cracked pavement beneath his feet. He was wrestling with how to balance the threads of familial loyalty with the budding connection he felt toward Mia. "I want to break free from what my family expects of me, but it is not easy." The sincerity in his eyes pierced through her apprehension. Mia felt a flicker of hope. "You can redefine what that means, Nathan," she replied softly, encouraged by his vulnerability. "We can make our own path, even if it means challenging everything we have been told." The thought sparked something inside her, a fire ignited by shared determination. In the depths of her heart, cherished memories flooded her mind. The voice of her late father, reminders of resilience and hard work etched in her memory. She remembered nights spent hunched over textbooks, studying by the light of a single bulb while her father worked late hours to provide for them. "I have seen what struggle looks like," she said, her voice steadier now, "and I believe we can rise above it." Nathan nodded, newfound confidence radiating from him. "Let us meet again? I want to figure this out," he said, his voice firm. A smile broke through Mia's reservations. For the first time, Excitement danced with the first time. Excitement danced with her anxiety as they discussed stepping beyond societal norms. But even as dreams began to take shape, shadows loomed at the edges of their revelations. Mia could sense Ethan's presence, his doubts a palpable weight. He had always been the voice of privilege in Nathan's life, and now that voice echoed in her mind, reminding her of the opposition that awaited. In the back of her mind, she feared what Selena might say, how she would see their connection. As much as we want this, there is no denying what Ethan will think. Or Selena, Nathan said, turning thoughtful. The scrutiny, the questions. The scrutiny, the questions. It will not be easy. The uncertainty crept back in, threatening to spill their budding hopes. Mia met Nathan's gaze, feeling the gravity of their situation. We knew it would not be simple, but we can do this together, she whispered. However, a small voice in her head wondered if together was enough when external pressures began to mount. Surfacing from his thoughts, Nathan let out a breath. I need to come to terms with my privilege. It should not dictate my choices, but it does shape how people see me. Us. His expression turned serious as he faced the responsibility that came with his upbringing. There was something admirable in his willingness to confront the truths of his life, and it made Mia's resolve waver a little less. Just know that your choice to fight against these expectations will carve a new path, she reassured him. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow around them, they exchanged a lingering glance, a mix of hope, intertwined with the gravity of the journey ahead. But just as they turned to part ways, Mia felt a rustle in her jacket pocket. She pulled out an envelope, its edges worn and the handwriting somewhat familiar yet unreadable. "What is this?" she murmured, her heart racing. Nathan stepped closer, curiosity piqued. "What is wrong?" She tore open the envelope, her pulse quickening as she read the short, cryptic note inside. It hinted at family secrets that could unravel everything she had begun to rebuild, leaving her breathless. "What does it say?" Nathan asked, concern filling his gaze. Mia's eyes widened, fear gripping her chest. "I do not know, but this can change everything for both of us." A heavy silence hung between them as they processed the weight of the message, the implications looming large. The uncertainty clawed at Mia's stomach, anticipation holding her captive. "Let us talk about it tomorrow," Nathan said finally, but the line of uncertainty stretched between them, tugging at the fragile strings of their newfound connection. As they parted ways, Mia felt the letter's weight pressing down upon her. Reminder that their journey was only just beginning, riddled with more twists and turns than either of them could foresee. Mia stared at the letter once more, the paper nearly crumpling under her frantic grip. The uncertainty of its contents gnawed at her, igniting a wildfire of fears deep within her chest. "Who am I really?" the question echoed. Each pulse of her heart, a reminder of her fragile sense of identity, teetering precariously on the edge of revelation. "Mia, you okay?" Nathan's voice pulled her back from the brink. He stood beside her, concern etched on his face. The warmth in his gaze steadied her, grounding the whirlwind of thoughts. It was strange yet comforting to have him here, tethering her as she faced the famed tempest of insecurity and longing. I need to find out where this letter came from," she replied, her voice trembling. "What if it changes everything I think I know about myself?" Nathan stepped closer, his shoulder brushing against hers. "You do not have to do this alone. I will help you." There was an undeniable strength in his tone, one that made her feel like they could face anything together. As they started to plot their next steps, her uncertainty transformed into a newfound urgency, fusing their personal quests with camaraderie. "Do you ever think about how our families shape us?" Mia mused, the weight of her thoughts making her reflect on the intricacies of their connection. "I mean, look at us. You are from a privileged background while I did not grow up with much, but here we are." Nathan nodded, his expression thoughtful. Yeah, it is wild. Sometimes I feel caught between two worlds. It makes me wonder if any of it really matters. The conversation deepened their bond, revealing layers of understanding that transcended their different upbringings. But if this letter reveals something big, will it bring us together or drive us apart? Mia's voice wavered as she examined the implications. Her heart raced at the thought of the potential healing hidden within those words or the devastating truths they could unearth. As they strategized, an icy chill settled over her, lurked unseen but pressing. Ethan's influence felt omnipresent, a dark cloud veiling their newfound connection. She could sense it. He would do anything to preserve his status, stoking the fires of jealousy and resentment. "Mia, be careful," Nathan warned, his tone crackling with urgency. The sincerity in his voice pulled at her heartstrings. Ethan is not the type to just let things go. He will fight dirty if he feels threatened. "Why does he care so much?" she murmured, anxiety twisting in her stomach. "It is like he needs to control everything, even how I feel about myself, because he is afraid of losing what he thinks he has." Nathan replied, a hint of frustration breaking through. And maybe and maybe does not understand that connections like ours are what truly matter. "We are fighting against so much, Mia. Society, expectations." Mia nodded, a knot of determination forming in her throat, but as the conversation shifted, the flicker of hope that sparked within her began to wane. With the mounting external pressures, doubt crept back in overshadowing her resolve. Selena's recent words emerged uninvited, heightening her anxiety even further. "You have to be careful whom you trust," Selena had warned, her tone thick with concern. "Vulnerability is a risk not everyone respects." Those words echoed incessantly, forcing Mia to reconsider trust as shadows lengthened around them. What if opening up to Nathan only led to further heartache? Then, as if the universe conspired to upend her fragile optimism, Ethan emerged from the shadows. His imposing figure materialized unexpectedly, cutting through the atmosphere of shared hope. "Maya," he called, eyes sharp and accusing. "What is going on between you and Nathan? You think you can pull off this little charade without consequences?" A chill ran down Maya's spine. The air crackled with tension, suffocating her burgeoning resolve. The confrontation loomed, questions swirling like a storm. Was any truth worth the risk of exposing her heart to his wrath? The moment burst forth with explosive energy as Ethan's voice echoed through the bustling cafe, his frustration slicing through the chatter like a knife. "How could you even think about being with him, Mia? He does not belong in our world." His words dripped with indignation, each syllable striking a nerve in Maya's heart. Around them, patrons turned their heads, some whispering, some barely concealing their smirks. Mia felt the sting of crimson rush to her cheeks, mingling with a profound sense of defiance brewing within her. "You think you can control my life because of your last name?" she shot back, her voice steadier than she felt. The onlookers faded into the background as the weight of her family's expectations bore down on her. "I am worth more than what you think. I will not stand by while you belittle my choices." Her resilience radiated through the air, and for an instant the world around them felt suspended in time. It was not just a battle about her relationship with Nathan. It was an assertion of her relationship with Nathan. It was an assertion of her identity against the relentless tide of class prejudice. Nathan stood nearby, a quiet tempest of emotions swirling within him. He watched Mia assert herself, her gaze fierce and unwavering. In that moment, something shifted in him like a sudden awakening to the weight of privilege he had carried for too long. It did not matter that his own family disapproved. What mattered was standing beside her. "Ethan, stop," he interjected, stepping forward. "You are missing the point. Mia deserves to be happy, no matter what you or anyone else thinks." The tension in the air thickened, the struggle between familial loyalty and personal conviction stark in the absence of restraint. Mia turned to Nathan, gratefulness reflected in her eyes. They had walked divergent paths but somehow converged at a crucial juncture. "Thank you," she murmured, her voice raw yet filled with warmth, recognizing that they were no longer just two individuals, but partners standing firm against the tide of their familial legacies. Ethan's face twisted in disbelief, anger boiling beneath the surface, desperately trying to understand the shift. As the confrontation subsided, unexpected revelations unfurled among the family members gathered. Old wounds surfaced, tangled histories exposed like unwelcome secrets. "You think you know us, Ethan?" Mia's mother spoke suddenly, her voice laced with unbridled emotion. "You have no idea what we have sacrificed to keep this family together. You all are blinded by your privilege." Mia's heart raced as she absorbed the depths of her family's pain and endurance. The biases that had long governed interactions began to falter under the weight of truth. Layers of misunderstanding peeled back, revealing shared goals of belonging and acceptance that had lain hidden within even the most turbulent family dynamics. But just as they started to find common ground, a hush fell over the cafe as a stranger approached their table. "Mia?" figure called out, tension reawakening in the air. A beat passed before the stranger spoke again. "I think you should know. Your father was not just a businessman. He had ties that could change everything you thought about your family." The words hung heavy between them, a chilling revelation unraveling the fragile bonds forged moments before. Questions surged like wildfire in Mia's mind, forcing her to confront the implications of this unexpected news. What did it mean for her, for Nathan, and for the fragile connection that had begun to blossom? As uncertainty loomed, the cafe buzz returned. But the moment of clarity had shifted everything for them. What new truths would emerge from this revelation, forever altering the course of their lives? Mia stood at the crossroads of her past and present, feeling the weight of her family history pressing down on her shoulders. The confrontation with Nathan had ignited a fury within her. It was not just the shocking truths unveiled, but the realization that her roots were tangled with his in ways she never imagined. With each breath, anger churned in her stomach, a fierce mix of betrayal and longing for something she had never known. Sense of belonging. Nathan, sensing her turmoil, approached cautiously. "Mia, it is okay to feel overwhelmed. Just take it one step at a time," he said gently, his voice a soft anchor in her emotional maelstrom. He understood he too was grappling with his own revelations about the socio-political landscape they both navigated. Mia glanced at him, the light from the overhead bulbs catching the intensity in his brown eyes. "It is not okay, Nathan. How can my family keep this from me? I did not just find out I am related to you. I uncovered a web of lies that spans generations." "Nobody is denying the pain," he responded, his own thoughts swirling like leaves in a storm. "But maybe this is the moment you take back what was hidden from you. You could find out why they chose to keep this secret, and you might even learn to stand tall in your truth, alongside me." As they talked, something shifted within her. The anger simmered down, giving way to the realization that she was not facing this tumultuous journey alone. Nathan's unwavering support offered her resilience she had not recognized before, a reminder that unity could be a powerful tool against adversity. Yet, tangled feelings swirled around Mia, new sense of anger and betrayal, danced alongside a deeper understanding of her background. It felt odd, like an incomplete puzzle suddenly revealing its pieces. She wanted to scream about the injustices woven into her lineage, exposing the complexities of privilege and struggle. It also sparked a yearning for connection she had not fully acknowledged until now. "Do you think we could actually make a difference? Change how people see these disparities?" she asked, vulnerability lacing her voice. "I think it starts with us, with owning our stories," Nathan replied, determination etched into his features. The fire in his spirit fueled her own resolve. Together, they could confront the shadows, turning their pain into purpose. As Mia's spirit began to blossom, she felt empowered to embrace her identity. The scars of her family history transformed into an anchor for her future. They stood as allies silently conspiring how to dismantle the very systems that sought to keep them apart. But just when the air felt electric with possibility, the cafe door burst open. "Mia!" A familiar voice called, slicing through their moment. Her heart sank as she recognized the figure who strode toward them, a family member whose stern expression held hard truths. "You need to stop seeing him. It is for your own good." A chill sliced through Mia's confidence, the ultimatum hanging like a storm cloud ready to burst. She felt the ground shift beneath her, her newfound sense of belonging threatened. "What do you mean?" Nathan shot back, tension thickening between them. Mia could feel her mouth go dry, a mix of dread and defiance rising within her. "You do not understand. I will not be told what to do, or who I can and cannot be with." As tension electrified the room, it crystallized the unspoken question. What would happen when they were forced to choose between love and family loyalty? The weight of her family history hung there, an open loop unsettlingly waiting for resolution. How would this revelation reshape her sense of self? In that moment, the stakes were high for both of them, leaving viewers eager for what lay ahead in their intertwining journeys. The evening sun cast a soft glow through the diner's windows, illuminating Maya's face as she stood before her coworkers, unexpected confidence radiating from her. She remembered their shared struggles, late shifts, long hours, and the never-ending cycle of economic strain. This was not just her fight anymore. It was theirs too. What if taking a stand could spark change not just for yourself, but for an entire community? The question echoed in her mind, igniting a fire in her heart. She felt the weight of her family history, of generations before her who had fought silently against a tide that seemed insurmountable. She wasn't just a waitress now. She was a voice ready to shatter the silence. As Mia took a deep breath, she looked around the diner, her friends' faces lighting up with hope and intrigue. The scars of their past struggles hovered around them, yet there was a shimmering possibility of a better tomorrow. With resolve in her eyes, she spoke up, her voice steadier than she had ever imagined it would be. "We deserve better," she declared, looking directly at the group, seeing their mirrored determination. The camera captured this moment, a culinary battleground transformed into a haven of hope. Maya's triumph was palpable, a heartwarming sight that resonated not just within four walls, but rippled through the community. In a world filled with challenges, hope shines brightest when we connect with one another. The narrator's voice resonated, seamlessly syncing with the visuals. Diner filled with laughter, voices unified, each person knowing change was possible. The scene transitioned to a soft focus on Mia, her smile infectious and empowering. As thoughts coalesced, a profound realization emerged. Every act of kindness can ripple outward, creating a tidal wave of change. This sentiment underscored the essence of Mia's journey, offering the viewers a potent takeaway about the power of compassion and community engagement. However, the evening's revelations were far from over. A letter lay crumpled in Mia's hand, a swirling confluence of emotions within her. This new correspondence unveiled generational ties between her and Nathan, igniting deeper questions and anticipation. How will these revelations shape Mia and Nathan's journey forward? This inquiry lingered, leaving viewers eager to engage with the stories yet to unfold. As the screen began to fade to black, the call to action lingered like a hint of nostalgia. If you found inspiration in Mia and Nathan's journey, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories that uplift and connect us, urged the narrator, a bridge extending between the story and the viewer's own lives. The final words lingered in the air like a hopeful whisper. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery. Keep seeking connection, and I'll see you in the next video. The warmth enveloped the audience, creating a sense of belonging, echoing the themes of resilience and connection that had woven throughout Mia's story.